Hello everyone, welcome to Faculty Development Program. Today we are going to talk about emerging technologies. We'll be covering mainly VR, AR and a slight introduction to machine learning. So VR and AR are very experiential technologies and it's difficult to explain them over a keynote presentation or through slides because you need being experiential in nature. You need headsets like this that you put on and you can experience, or something like this, which is a different headset. Um, but I have included a lot of videos, so it can give you a clear picture of AR and VR, where the and a complete snapshot of these technologies. About machine learning, it's also a field which is growing pretty rapidly, and it's touching all parts of our day-to-day lives, um, and it has very far-reaching applications. So, a brief introduction to machine learning is also covered in this lecture series. So, brief introduction about me. I am Manas. I completed my MSc Mathematics in 2012. Before that, I did computer engineering. So, after my engineering, I started a company. We were making apps. It's called Zabuza Labs. So, we developed over 1500 apps. Three of our apps and games were number one on Play Store. One game in particular had actually surpassed Angry Birds on Indian Play Store. Um, we are also the first Indian company to make room scale VR game. When I say VR, I mean a device something like this, which you can put on and then which can give you a 360-degree view. Then we also published two augmented reality books for kids, and currently, I'm working on a new startup. It's influencer analytics come marketplace tools. So basically, there are a lot of influencers because of TikTok and Instagram, and then companies are looking to promote their products through these influencers. So we are building a holistic solutions for influencers so that they can check how their account, how their users are growing day to day. We are using machine learning to do sentiment analysis as to whether the comments on your post are positive or negative, or relevant or irrelevant, etc. And on the side, I'm also working on some machine learning courses for mathematics and computer students. So, okay, let's move on. So, okay, so the first thing that I would like to say is AR and VR. These are up and coming technologies. They have been in market since let's say 5 or more years, and then a lot of people have started using it out of India. In India, there is a kind of slower adoption because of the cost. However, the AR or VR has a potential to. I mean, it's sort of a next mobile in a way. So this presentation is not really very relevant to the academics or our curriculum as such, but understanding these fields will make you understand as to how these tools can be used to better impart education to the students, and they are fun. Okay, so how interface has evolved since computer. Let's go back in the history. So the first computer was invented in early 1970s. Um, the whole computer revolution, the mobile that we are seeing today, on an average, a person uses phone probably say like 5 or 6 hours or even more, right? So it all happened because a semiconductor industry was invented in 1970s. So there were calculators, and then the calculators had 4004 chip, and then from calculators we moved to sort of like computers. So the first computer that you are seeing here, what is peculiar about this? I mean, do you notice anything substantial or specific about this? So it has no mouse, it has only keyboard. So the interface is command based interface. So now how do you interact with such a system? So you know that there is a computing power, there is a machine which understands some commands, but then how is one to input the commands? Using keyboard. Now let's think about it for a minute. You want to use computer, and in order to use that you have to memorize some commands, and then you type in, let's say, dir. It will give you a list of directory files on the system, right? So there you have to memorize probably hundreds of commands. So clearly this computer is for someone who is, let's say, scholar, who 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 has a curiosity to learn new things. It's not necessarily useful for layman. So that was like 1970s and early 80s. Then came Macintosh in 1984, and it was one of the first computer with mouse. And what mouse signifies is GUI, graphical user interface. As you can see, you can like move your mouse pointer, click on things. You don't have to type in any command. You click on a file browser button, and then it gives you a list of files in a visual format. So now you don't have to memorize commands. Now it's very you just see there, you click somewhere, and you know what it will do. So when GUI was developed, more people started using computer because the learning curve was low. A layman can technically use computer with GUI. So what could be the next stage of user interface? Okay, we invented mouse. What's next? Next is handheld devices, phones. So Steve Jobs launched iPhone in 2007. Before iPhone, there were few touchscreen phones, but iPhone was the first one which kind of brought most of the things, including internet, music system, and a good touch interface, all in one platform. So now look at the difference between a computer with mouse and a mobile. Anyone can use mobile because it is interactive. You have to just tap the button. You don't even have to think about left click, right click, or move something like mouse. You just see something, you click on it with your finger, and the response is immediate. So if you see the adoption of technology, the computer was being used by very few people, maybe a million or less than, or a slightly more, without keyboard, of course, without mouse, of course. When the mouse was invented, maybe 10 times people started using. But with mobile, there are about like 4 billion mobile devices or 5 billion mobile devices in the world right now. WhatsApp was downloaded like 5 billion times on, it shows on Play Store. So, yeah, I mean, the adoption of technology is directly related to the evolution of user interface. What can we take away from this is, as user interface evolved, mass adoption of technology happened. Keyboard to mouse to phones, and it happened because of low learning curve. It's intuitive. You just see something and you understand. So a principle that we can like put forth from this is thought to input instruction to output time. The lesser amount of time involved in all these three aspects, the better. The moment the thought originates, and then the time taken to input the instructions. For keyboards it takes higher time, for mobile it's just simple, and output is also like pretty fast. So it's mainly thought to input, and the less the better. So where are we heading next? We have keyboard, we have mouse, and then we have touch screen interaction. So the goal of this new UI is to bring it as closer to reality as possible. So I see something on the phone and I just tap it, right? So it's very real rather than moving something from my hand. And say this is how sort of the future looks like. You are wearing a headset, and then you see a world around you, and you just interact with it. So let's say if I you won't be able to see this, but let's say if I put this, I can see a virtual world around me. I can see YouTube over here, and I just like tap here, and then it will start on itself. So this is the magic of VR and AR. So what is VR? So this is a definition. Virtual reality is a simulated experience that can be similar to or completely different from real world. So as the name says, it's virtual, but it's also reality. So something virtual which feels as close as real, or reality as real as possible. And there are two types of virtual reality. There is a mobile VR which you can use with mobile, and then there is a console VR. So this is sort of like console VR. Console technically means a headset which is connected with wire to the computer, but then this is a dedicated VR headset. So a mobile VR headset is some sort of like okay, we'll see. Yeah. So mobile VR. So here is a example. So this you may have seen. It's a cardboard by Google, and it's a very makeshift sort of cardboard where you can follow the instructions as shown over there, and then build something which looks like the image on top, and then you put a phone inside, and then you put it on your eyes. And on the right, on the below image on the right side, you see a magnet there. The circle, the black thing is a magnet. So basically it's an interaction. So when you pull down a magnet, it means like you are clicking somewhere. And it costs like maybe sorry, about maybe like 200, 300. So the range is from maybe 100 to 1000. So if you are very interested, you can just order one from Amazon. um, so here is a more sophisticated mobile VR version which is called Gear VR. And then the phones like S7, S8, that you can put inside the headsets provided by Samsung itself, and it gives you much better experience than, let's say, these cardboards. And then Google also released their own VR headsets. So phones like Pixel 3, Pixel 4, you can put in a device like this, which they call Daydream, and you put inside, and then put it on, and then you experience the virtual reality world. And you can see the pointer over there. So for this, which is on Oculus Go, there is also a controller. So here is a controller, so you can just click, or you can, if you want to move, you can like just slide on this, etc. So it has only like what, 4 buttons. It's pretty intuitive that way. And here is an expressions of these people who are using cardboard. I mean, this is like the first time you are seeing virtual reality. People go wow. And then below is like an image from Google Expeditions, where Google is like giving virtual reality tours to school kids. Inside, this is how it looks actually. I mean, this is how it feels. I mean, so as you can imagine, your entire view is blocked. You don't know what is besides you or like ahead of you, because now entire of your eyes are covered by the headset, and then whatever you see is a computer projected world. And because of technologies like gyroscopes or 360 view, if you look to your right, you also feel like you are, I mean, inside your experience, you also move to your right. uh, and then the console VR, they have two types, like tethered and untethered. So this one is, let's say, untethered. Tethered means with cable, basically. So this is Oculus Go. That one is Oculus Quest. Oculus is a company bought by Facebook, and now Facebook is actively bringing virtual reality to the market. And then this Oculus Quest, it has two controllers. You put the headset, and you are in VR. And then there are no wires involved. But the higher resolutions are something like this HTC Vive. So this is an image we, my company, we were demoing at a game expo in Hyderabad. So if you see, there are like circles marked over. This system is it's called room scale virtual reality. So as you can see, there are two controllers, two cameras, infrared cameras, one at the back of that stall and one at the front and right of that stall. So those two are the cameras which are tracking three things: two controllers in the hand and then one headset. So there are like five main components: two controllers, one headset. These three things are controlled by two cameras which are placed, let's say, 15 feet apart. So it creates a space of 15 by 15 feet, and inside it you can actually walk, you can duck, you can move here and there, and you can like play games, play experiences, etc. And you can notice the wire over there. So this device is connected to a computer, so the game or the program is being run on the computer and then it is projected on your device. This is a tethered VR, which is very high definition virtual reality. It's a very immersive. Oculus also has its own tethered headset, which is Oculus Rift and Oculus Rift S. So Rift S is coming pretty soon. Uh, as you can see, there are cameras around. There are like four cameras on the devices. Maybe one might be at top, probably, but these cameras help the device understand your location, yeah, if there is any obstacle around or how close you are to the wall, etc. So let's quickly go through mobile VR versus console VR. So mobile VR is low cost and then it's also low quality, and because of that, it's not very immersive. On the other end, console VR, it's a little bit costly. In fact, the tethered VR higher, are more costlier, are costlier than untethered VR. I mean, without cable. So something like this is kind of cheaper than something which comes with the cable. And then these are like highly immersive. So what happens with mobile VR is like you have those two lenses, and then those two lenses are not really that high quality that it can give you a great um immersion. Also, if there is a light passing through, let's say you are wearing the headset but then there is a gap here and then the light is passing through, so the feeling that you get inside is not that immersive. So it's very important that you get a form factor right, which is not very possible in something like cardboard. So far, what are the takeaways? uh, One is like virtual environment with a sense of okay, we'll talk about this later. Actually, let's watch some demo videos. So here, uh, for the first time in the history of mankind, you can draw or paint in 3D. This application was developed by two people in San Francisco, and it was then bought by Google. So as you can see, this is the color palette in the left hand, and you can select any color, any size of brush you want, and you can actually paint in 3D. And then you can walk around, you can go through it. And an interesting thing is, so all your drawing is in 3D. So you can then export this and do 3D printing as well. So they also have that functionality where it outputs a 3D printable file and then give it to a printer, and a printer can sort of 3D print an object. And animators at Disney have actually started using this tool to create 3D characters. Now this is a game. It improves. I mean, it's a fun game. You see.
We got to get all these guys in quick succession because then I get a time bonus.
Yeah.
And that's what's up. That's what's up. These red guys that you see right here, they're a little bit more difficult. See, look, I have these two power-ups here. You see these?
Oh, that's cool.
So the controller, he's holding a controller,
Wait
but
for it.
inside
Wait for
he
it.
feels
Boom.
that he is having, he's holding a
Nice
gun
try.
and a shield, and
Boom.
those are the
You
robot
like that?
drones,
You like that, baby?
robot
Indubitably.
robot drones that he's trying to
Oh, like that,
kill.
buddy? There we go. Here we go. All right. Oh, there. I didn't see that guy. You see this right here? This is a map. You see all these drones coming up?
Yeah, yeah.
That's a map.
That's so cool.
All right, we're gonna go like this. There we go. There we go.
Yes.
I can. This gun acts a little better. It's not as.
So here, this guy is actually feeling that he is there in space and then defending himself and killing enemies. His view is blocked. His image is put over here through a green screen technology. So basically, he's in a studio and then someone is recording him, and then there is a green cloth in the background, so he can later on cut out and then he can sort of like put his own image inside his experience so that we can understand or can get a better experience of this. And then this was a cricket game that we were making at our company. Just have a look. So the camera I was saying is here on the top, and then this is the headset. He is holding one controller, and then on the computer, the game is being run on the computer. You can see the reflexes are also, I mean, it's also helping your reflexes because it's very real, so you kind of like move your body according to an experience. Here is a closer look.
किरण थोड़ा मागे मागे मागे.
And he is completely immersed in that environment, no sense of his physical environment, and that's what brings this immersion. This is an experience by National Geography.
We'd like you to send us photographs of your journey.
So all of this is a handcrafted virtual reality experience, and the user is feeling that he's boating or he's like traveling to these places, skiing, snow mounting. And this is by Google Earth. So now Google Maps already is mapping the entire streets of the world, and then with Google Streets, they actually have the street view as well of a lot of countries. So you can actually walk around the street. Let's say you select Paris, you can take a route. You can select a road near Eiffel Tower and just like walk by click, and then you just walk, and on the left you can see maybe some roadside shops, etc. But imagine all of this in VR. In VR, the same experience, you'd feel like you're actually walking down the streets of Paris. This is New York, I think. Eiffel Tower, San Francisco Golden Gate. So as you can see, for someone who cannot travel and who wants to travel, explore places or see places at least, this is like a big thing. You can actually and very realistically can explore the world uh, with as much reality as possible. And then these images or this Google Earth VR experience is not handcrafted. It's actually all satellite image and then combined a lot of data points, and then they have built an experience which is very similar to the real life world. So what makes VR special? One is its complete attention. When I'm wearing this and then let's say put my headsets, then I have no choice but to see what's in front of me and hear is like what is being projected to my ears. So there is no distraction because there is no outer sound, there is no outside view that I have. So there is 100% attention, and that is what makes it the perfect or like one of the best tools for education and for learning. Because when you are learning a complicated concept and or not even complicated, when you want to learn, it's better you learn faster if there is a complete attention. Uh, More senses involved and deeply. So like I said, you cannot see anything else. So whatever your eyes looking at it, they are 100% focused on that thing. And then there is an interaction, there is a movement. So when you combine eyes, ears, and then your interaction, it creates a very deep involvement. And the more involved you are, the better, the more learning there is. um, Sense of teleportation, since it's virtual, you are in a different world. You feel like you are in a different world than the room you are sitting in. So there is a sense of teleportation. It's intuitive, like we said. It's much more intuitive than your mobile phone screen because you are looking at objects, and let's say if there is something and you want to pick it up, so what I'll do is I'll just like click this and then take it here and then leave it and then it's done. So in reality I would move it like this. In VR it's more or less the same. And then it's immersive. That's the core funda of VR. It's immersive. So what are the applications? So basically, applications are almost any field that you can imagine, because VR is replicating the physical world. So everything that is in the physical world would potentially be in VR one day. But here, I mean, the few applications I'd like to note. One is medical. We'll see more videos on this topic. Gaming, of course. Video conference. So right now, like maybe 100, 200, or 500 people are watching this. But imagine if 100 people had VR headsets, which would probably happen in less than 5 years. 100 people wearing VR headsets, and then everybody will feel that they are in a room. Right now everybody is at your home, and then you are watching on the phone screen, or the you are watching on the laptop. But if this presentation were in VR, then everybody would feel like they were in one room, and then they could talk to each other, interact with each other, and see each other. Basically their virtual reality avatar, they could see each other, and then also do the conference. Psychology. So a lot of people have different kinds of fears, and then to sort of to work on those fears. So what they say is the best way to avoid the fear, to conquer the fear, is to face it. So let's say if I have fear of let's say spiders, then I have to face them. But then it's like it hardly happens that I myself put myself in such shoes where I'm facing them. But in VR, there could be a spider experience. You know that it is not real, but you still feel that they are there because it is immersive, it feels real. So with this, a lot of people have actually positively used VR to get rid of fears. Someone has a fear of sorry height. So there are experiences where the user feels like he's standing on the 100-storied building on top, and then he's looking down, and then literally people cannot move, put a foot forward. They feel like they are actually up in the air. They don't put their foot forward, but then that's how real this is. Education, training. So we'll see some videos again for these applications. Now this will give you a little bit idea about how VR is being used in education. Yeah, it should start right about now. Yeah, so you can explore planets. This is sort of a multiple choice question with interaction. So here one is also learning how to use axe. See how real this ear feels like, and how it would, you can see in all angles in VR. So now these kind of experiences are difficult to work on computer, but VR is one of the perfect medium. You are actually putting the um, different aspects of human heart right into the shape. So now the user is moving the lens. This self-paced interactive teaching is one of the best ways to teach concepts to students, because he can uh, it's self-paced. So basically, if he's a slow learning, he'll take his own time, and then there is a feedback given by the system as well, so he knows where he's wrong, and then he can correct himself and move at his own speed. And then there are a lot of other videos related to education as well, not videos, the experiences that people have created. And if this were a physical conference, I would have actually showed you the headsets, and then you could have put it on and experience these apps yourself. um, but then we are on the virtual reality, sorry, we are on in a video conference. uh, Maybe some other time. Now this is about UPS. So UPS is one of the biggest logistics company, courier company in United States, and then they are using VR to train drivers. So learning driving is more effective with VR than those simulations that we see in the driving schools. If something comes right there, you
Left
actually
clear.
feel like someone is there, so
Right
you just
clear.
put your brakes on.
Left clear. Left hazard.
Let's move to the next. Yeah, this is an interesting one. So this is NYPD, New York Police Department, and then this is how they are using for their
So
internal
now we're
training.
getting guys wanting to come.
And scenario, index, index.
Imagine the possibilities.
So those policemen out there are
For
in
starters,
VR, and even this guy is in
NYPD
VR.
conducting active shooter drills at the World Trade Center.
See, I got a shooter in the plaza. Man
But
down.
they are here in
Now they
reality.
can, in virtual reality.
You secure. We have like a bunch of cameras around the space, and we're tracking your position. We're putting markers on your arm, legs, on the backpack, and on your headset.
Cool.
The guns we're using were meant to play airsoft.
They have a little bit of a recoil.
There you go. So the idea is we want to show they should operate the same way they would outside the network.
Says the scenario that you're going to be going into is you have a call.
Now these four people are in a similar, in a one same VR environment. In VR they can see each other where one is their actual position.
Watch your angles. I got one down, right over black. More scenarios in a much shorter time.
You get really immersed. There's a lot of heart pounding, and it's very realistic. So it's a great training aid for us to get more experience.
Show me your hands, man.
You're watching a week-long training program at a state-of-the-art facility in Williamsburg, Brooklyn. The first time the NYPD is using VR.
It adds another whole component. You can change the scenarios. You don't need that much space. So we're taking a good look at it.
A couple hundred NYPD officers have taken part in this pilot training this first week. The goal is for police departments across the nation to endorse this tech so this training can be incorporated nationwide.
Scenario is report of a man with a gun.
Yeah, here is my best part about this video. Yeah. Okay.
The NYPD is the host of the program, the training provider through the Department of Homeland Security, Louisiana State University.
This is
and
the best
VR.
part of the
I
video.
got people hurt here. I need to get them help, okay? Let's drop that weapon. Let that man go, please, sir. All right, if I let him go, yeah, it's not going to hurt me, right? Absolutely not, sir. We're going to work this out for you, okay? Let him go. All right.
Yeah, so they go and take him in and lock him up.
So this is a tool that.
Okay. In sports,
Bad boy, or is it
No,
just?
this is more of a fan-facing initiative, but now you can look on the Jumbotron, wave your arms around, squat up and down. That's you.
so these are professional sports players who are using VR to get more training. Because they can run different simulations in VR, which is probably difficult in the real world. They are like training against
You're
different
actually seeing
simulations.
real video of real hockey players.
Oh my
So
god.
these are not video game graphics shooting at you.
So this is real.
It's real.
Yeah, those are real people shooting
Ah,
at you.
like these are like coming right.
This is a
at me.
pretty sophisticated technology actually, but it gives you a clear idea as to
I like that
how
one.
VR is being used in all these different domains. Now this is for industrial training. So before going to a plant or knowing a plant in detail before actually visiting it, you can visit in VR, play around with it, learn what your job is. So a lot of companies are using VR experiences for industrial training. and I think this is the last one. But you see how medical
The
students
first thing I'm going to do
or
is
doctors
put
are
the knee
using.
into 90 degrees of flexion. So I'll grab the ankle here.
So
Given
VR
a
is
highlight to help me see the
more
goal
useful
where I want to put this leg.
for like deep STEM
There we go.
topics because they are complex to teach
So
as
now we have
well.
it 90
So
degrees of flexion. I'm going to select a scalpel from the Mayo
some
stand.
medical universities in the
Now
world
I
have
can
actually
see
started
that
using
there's a highlight to
experiences
help
like
me
this.
know where to start my incision. It's also aligned on the midline of the patella to tell me where I should make this incision. So go ahead and do that.
The scalpel to make the incision starting just above the patella.
Okay, so we have the incision made. Now, one of the things we worked really hard on was to develop a soft tissue deformation system so that the user can interact
See
with
how
the skin's
realistic they have made it.
incision margins
Let's just skip
with our
this.
finger part of the tibia, and it's anchored with these 3 pins. So I'll grab the pin driver again and put these 3 pins in. Robotically assisted femoral section guide. It's called the eye block. So we can put that right on the medial side here. And now you'll see that it's automatically adjusting for the first cut, the distal cut on the femoral condyles. I'll grab the bone saw and make that first cut, removing.
So as you can see, this is clearly going to raise the quality of doctors coming out of the schools because they can be trained on hundreds of simulations before performing a surgery on a live case. The live cases are limited, and then there is a lot of pressure. But then, if you are trained on hundreds of such different cases in simulation, uh, you are going to be much better doctor because you get more practice than otherwise. So yeah, and then there are people. So the one in the top, with VR, they are trying to make his legs more active with a simulated experience. Down there, they are trying to do an experiment whether it can alleviate pain because you are now distracted. You are in a completely immersive world, so you are distracted, so you may not feel that much pain. So people have been doing some research on these topics. And then lastly, social VR is like this is a video from Facebook Oculus a conference, and the Mark Zuckerberg, the founder himself, is putting VR headset, and then they are showing us what the social VR
In
is.
fact, how about I take us to the bottom of the ocean?
Sounds good. All right.
Sharks.
Those are sharks. All right. That's a lot of sharks.
All right, how about we go somewhere else? How about we go to another planet, say Mars?
Wait a second, Mike.
Now
didn't
they
you say
feel
was
that
gonna
they are
cost
inside
billions
water. That's what they are
we'd all
feeling.
probably die.
Not in VR.
Now they are in Mars.
Welcome to Mars.
Well, I don't think I'd want to live here.
All right,
So three
guys, how about
people
we go somewhere where
interacting
there's
with
some more people?
themselves,
You know, that's kind of my thing.
with each
What
other.
about Facebook offices?
That's
Great
great.
idea.
All right. Okay. All right, here we are back. Back on Earth. All right, so here we are. This is my office in the at Facebook. So, all right, so the point of this and the reason why we're here is to talk about how we have this space together in VR and how we can go do anything that we want together, right? So, you want to play a game?
Oh, that sounds great. Let's try.
Yeah,
let's
so
try
here
a
is a
quick game
fun
of cards,
part.
huh?
The three of them can actually play with each other.
All right, what are we playing?
Let's just do a quick game of high
So,
card. Ready? Flip them over on 3. 1, 2, 3.
You can play chess, you can play cards, you can
I
play
win.
anything that you
Let's
want.
see. Oh,
Oh man.
nice.
I barely ever won in demo practice, so
We didn't plan that at all.
Well, another game we can play might be chess.
Yeah,
Now,
here you go.
I'll go first.
Yeah, this is also fun. So
In fact, how about I take?
you can make any move you want, apparently, but All right.
How about
Oh, here you go.
something completely different?
You know, when I was in school, I actually used to fence.
Oh,
You got another one of these?
I can do one better. Check this out. I will just make my own. Let's go like this. Go like so. And go like that. All right. I'm good. Ha-ha. Swish, swish. Clang, clang.
All
Now,
right.
this whole demo was actually
I
recorded
think you
on
win.
this
All right.
Oculus
We
Go
surrender.
device.
We surrender.
Uh, yeah, and then there are some accessories. So this is the last part or last bit of our VR topic. So there are a lot of accessories that people are working on and are already there. So the first one there, you can actually walk. So for a room scale VR, you can have a 15 by 15 feet area for you where you can inside it you can walk. But with a machine like this, you are inside that circular space and then you're walking. So for soldiers, for soldier training or anything which requires a lot of movement, they can actually walk or run at the same place. It's like treadmill basically. The other one is accessory for driving, learning driving. And then the girl on the bottom, she is wearing a glove, so the glove it gives you sensation. Right now there are controllers like this, but then the gloves are much more realistic. So I had actually tried a demo. It was raining and then I was wearing a glove and then I put my hand out there and then I feel like the raindrops are falling on my hand. I could actually feel different parts of my palm, the drops, the feeling of drops. So the gloves will be out pretty soon. And the last one here, on top of gun, there is that controller. So it basically is that is a receiver actually, which is tracked from those two cameras. So then there are people who have experimented something like this. So for the animation, let's say you want an animation of dance. So what they do is there is a dancer who puts these kind of sensors all across the body, maybe like four on legs, four on hands, one on the back, etc. And then the girl dances as usual and the computer records the movement, kind of creates a model out of it, and that model can be used for animation movies or in games, etc. It's called motion capture, and then they are doing motion capture with the VR tracking. um, Content creation, a little bit about content creation. So there are different softwares used, like Unity is one of the widely used, most popular tools that people use to create content for games or for VR, for AR. Unreal, so the game PUBG was actually made on Unreal, and the same um, tool can be used to make VR or AR games. Amazon also has their own game engine studio, which is called Sumerian. But Unity and Unreal are like pretty widely used. And then skills required for creating a content experience or creating a VR experience. You need a little bit of need to know a little bit of programming. Uh, Major part goes to 3D model design, 3D animation, creating those models from scratch or using them for and then do animation on those 3D models. Um, Game design, that experience, designing that experience is another a skill set that is required. And audio is very important in VR. They say that audio enhances your VR experience by 40%. So the homework, I mean, this is it actually. The homework, I would say, today, if possible, or tomorrow, go and watch Ready Player One. This movie was made by Steven Spielberg, and it actually gives the movie portrays the world of 2045 where everything is in VR. So we will understand much more about VR just by watching this 2 hour movie. Um Last final note about like where we are heading with VR. So the new devices are coming with cameras internally. So the Oculus Rift S, we saw there were cameras outside, but then there are cameras. So they track your eyeball movement. So where you are looking at is also an interaction. So inside my VR, if I'm looking at one particular thing, then it will be clicked automatically. So they have the cameras inside the VR, so they can track your eyeballs. And with Facebook driving virtual reality, we'll be seeing a lot of VR headsets pretty soon, as the devices are sort of new devices are coming up, the price is going down. So to give a context of price, so something like this in US would cost roughly about this is about $300, so about 20,000 rupees. In India, there would be import duty or whatever, so it would be we go to something about 25,000. The room scale VR with cables and everything, that whole setup could go around or more than a lakh. And then the cardboard is like 300 400 rupees, so you can just use that. But a good experience is on something like this, which is an Oculus Go or Oculus Quest, which is the Oculus Quest 2 is coming up, which is like about $500. uh, so yeah, so that's about VR. And um, let's talk about AR now. So AR is the other end of the spectrum. um, so there is virtual reality, which is completely virtual, and then there is augmented reality, which is real with some virtual items on top. So as the definition says, AR is a visual and sometimes interactive experience in a real world environment where the objects in the real world are augmented by computer generated perceptual information. And then these virtual enhancements can appear as visual or auditory. So the key thing is it's a real world environment. So Pokemon Go, you may have seen people playing Pokemon Go a couple of years back. So you can point a camera around you, and then you would see a Pokemon, and then you hit a Pokemon. Uh, so what is happening? Your camera is open, and then your camera is actually giving you a reality, a sense of reality. And then on top of that reality, virtual items, in this case virtual Pokemons, were placed. So if you look here, you won't see a Pokemon, but if you see there, you would see a Pokemon there. So you're augmenting your reality is your camera, and then you're augmenting your reality by adding virtual items in your reality. The other example is this new update of Google Maps, where you see the camera and then you see, like, okay, this is 7th Avenue, which is 350 feet away, or you have to take a left from there. So basically, the reality again is camera, but it's augmented by these two bubbles. One is about 7th Avenue, and the other is about the map direction. Uh, so again, there are two types in AR. One is mobile AR, and I'm sure most of you may have used mobile AR applications. And the other is AR glasses. So mobile AR is very practical in today's in 2020, let's say, and it has a lot of day-to-day use cases. It always works with smartphone camera. The downside is your one hand is occupied because you are like holding the camera all the time. And the other is like high-end, which is AR glasses. This is an AR glass. Now this we'll see in the picture next. It's an augmented reality glass, where if I put this, I can see the world. It's not like this where the view is blocked. As you can see, this is a transparent screen, so I can see everything. But I can also put a YouTube over here and then watch YouTube while I'm just like walking around, or when I'm just walking around. The YouTube screen can move around with me, and whatnot. Basically, I can open 10 browsers over here. One is news, one is maybe shopping, etc., and I can interact with them just by with the hands. So this is an AR glass, and AR glasses are like dedicated devices like this. They are high quality. It's hands free because once you put it on, you can just like tighten this up, and then you don't need to hold this. So now I'm hands free, and then I can like use both the hands to interact with the world. And then it's as simple as like, if I do this, then it will kind of like, I want to maximize a window, I can just do this. If I want to bring something, I can do that. A lot of different gestures. And then this is a future, and we'll talk about this as well. So this device is called Microsoft HoloLens, and there is me myself with VR with HoloLens. The other device in the market is Magic Leap, um, and it's also in beta. So HoloLens was first launched in 2015. In 2019, they released HoloLens 2, and both of them are only for developers. They are not for end users, because as you can see, they are little bulky, and the goal is to make them as small as this. That's the goal. It will take a while, but once we reach there, it's going to change the world as we know. I mean, just like mobile changed everything for us, this is going to be much more impactful than mobile. So let's see some demos. This is Snapchat AR effect. So basically, you can like, there is a filter. You may have used filters on Facebook camera or maybe Insta camera. So it detects your eyeballs, or in this case, the dog's eyeballs, and then puts a glass on a dog. So this is augmented reality. Why? Because the reality is camera, which through which you are looking at the dog, but then you are augmenting it by adding virtual items, and in this case spectacles, on top of dog's head. uh, this is an interesting app on Apple. So basically, you can measure things. Now this comes really handy. A lot of times you want to measure the length or perimeter of our house or room. We can't do that if you don't have tape. Volume. Now the volume is beautiful, right? How far you have walked, you can just check it with something like this. Yeah, this is an interesting app.
Now you won't be able to see it here, so I'll record the screen as well, but you can see the cruise ship here, you can see Sydney Harbour. Then I tap the screen and create a portal. So in the real world, there's nothing there. Then in the virtual world, on the screen of my iPhone, is a small portal, and I can walk around, and that portal kind of looks like it's floating in thin air. In fact, I can come around to the side of it and see it from the side. But when I go up to it and actually walk up to the portal here and look through it, in fact, I can walk right through it. We can see Mount Fuji. And as I walk in here, I'm in a virtual world now. Well, I'm walking around the real world. But the cool thing here is when I look around and look back to where the portal was, where I came through, I can now see the real world. I can see all of what is real through the portal. And so now I can walk back.
Now imagine this experience
The portal exists, sitting
in
right
something
here.
like AR
It's like I'm
glass.
in a virtual world.
You can actually zooming out in VR and coming back
Just like
in
that. Imagine
reality.
this on scale. Imagine this with headset.
Yeah, that's
Just
what I said.
imagine what's possible with augmented reality now that Apple's created AR kit.
Yeah, in education, so here are some of the apps. So this is a GeoGebra app. The mathematician or mathematics teachers would probably know about this, but this is clearly how this is clearly a very useful app for students learning geometry. because now in first time in the history you can actually have a look at three dimension. You can interact with three-dimensional objects virtually and then learn things like three-dimensional geometry. So this guy is putting an equation there, and yeah, and then he got. Now in classroom teaching, it's difficult to show this cone to them. You probably have to draw the image of the cone on a blackboard, but then showing a three-dimensional object on a 2D screen is basically just not efficient. It's just wrong. Showing it in 3D is the most optimum because it's a 3D object. So to explain a 3D object, let's not do it on the blackboard, but let's actually do it in 3D. So if there are any mathematics teachers, I ask you to use GeoGebra AR app and then teach geometry using this tool rather than using blackboard. Yeah, then this was an fun app that we had developed for kids. So this is augmented reality coloring. So whatever you have colored comes alive in 3D. So this is one of those two books that we had developed. Okay. So this is one of the books that we had developed. It's a coloring book. Look through the camera, it comes alive, and then it is in the exact same colors. You can watch the snowman in 3D, and you can place him somewhere, and then there is a cool animation. Yeah, this is one of the best case of augmented reality as well. Live Google translation. So for language teachers, this might be useful. So the camera is there, that's the reality, and whatever they are looking at is being translated.
Flip it.
So imagine you are traveling in a different country, let's say Japan, or even a different state where the script is very different than Hindi. Just look at the signboard, use through the camera, and then it will translate. So it's actually useful in our day-to-day lives. And then once you have the AR glass, in the future, imagine you are wearing a glass like this. Imagine this is a AR glass, and you are looking at things, and then it's in Japanese, but to you it's looking in English. That's the beauty of AR. Okay, so let's move on. Yeah, so let's see some AR glass. So this video is what I had recorded on this HoloLens. So basically, this is a chameleon that I had put who is like moving around, and now what I'm trying to do there is I'm trying to bring this lamp and then put it on table, and later on I can turn it on as well. And then both of my hands are free, the headset is there, and then I'm just trying to bring it here and then put it there. And then this image is a selection box. So out of those few elements I selected lamp, and then I put it there. And then this guy I had already put him, who's just traveling around. So you can place like hundreds of virtual items in an augmented reality, in a real world, in the augmented manner. Yeah, so I'm just trying to place it on the table. And see, it's very intuitive. I just have to hold and then leave. So that's what the next user interface is like. Just like how you do things in real world, you grab something and then you put there. It's just like that. You grab this and then put it there. This is how
With HoloLens, you can
this
see the muscles
university
on top
is
of the
using
skeleton all at the same time.
AR
You can bring
for
them in and out and exactly understand
medical.
where things sit.
You can take any anatomical part and show any of it. You can move it around, you can make it kind of translucent so you can see through the outside, and that really helped me understand like how cardiac anatomy worked. I actually had a moment where I found the aortic valve, and it was the first time that I'd actually seen the aortic valve in relation to all the other anatomical structures. You know, it was a way of seeing it that you couldn't do with an actual heart.
I think this will improve students' confidence in learning anatomy dramatically.
By creating simulations with the HoloLens that lets them have an experience where they can fail, that would be the best way to learn, because we don't allow people to fail too much in real life medicine.
With HoloLens, you could imagine having a class standing around a model, almost like a tour group in a museum, where they're all interacting completely naturally. I spend a huge amount of time to make sure they become the best professionals, because it's all of our jobs to make the world a better place.
So both VR and AR are extremely useful in education, including medical education. They have different use cases. The AR gives you sense of reality as well. I mean, you can see objects in same your world. So you are in hospital, and then there's a bed, so you can see a patient lying down there. In VR, the room could be manually constructed, and then programmatically constructed, and then inside that you can create an experience. Both of them are similar in way of developing the content, but the experience wise they are very different. And then this is sort of the future of video conferencing. I mean, uh, this tool was just released. I mean, this is like 2 week tool. It was released 2 weeks back by spatial.io. It combines virtual reality, augmented reality, and web camera, all of it together. And then just see the intro demo. So this guy is in this VR room with his probably VR headset. Some of them may be using augmented reality glasses to join the room. That lady out there, she is on her webcam and she is looking at this virtual reality world. These people are in their homes at different places, but they are collaborating in one shared simulated space. And then everybody can look at what everybody else is looking at. Uh, yeah, this is just like, I just want to show how realistic the water effect is in this. This is by Magic Leap, and in spite of being augmented reality, the effect is very realistic. It actually feels like it's water. So so AR glasses is actually sort of a future of mobile, because imagine if this phone, which uh, keeps our hand occupied for almost 8 hours a day, is right here, and then you use it only when you want to use it. Otherwise, just like your zero number glass. This is something like the future of phone, where the glass is as small as this, your regular usual spectacles, and then on top of this you can see the projections of virtual objects. And then this is what every big company is trying to make. So Apple is supposedly working on glasses. Microsoft already has this, which they want to make as small as that. And then even Facebook is working on AR glasses. So the next 10 years, probably by 2030, we would see a lot of AR glasses coming up. Um, what's difficult in this technology is getting the shape down to the usual spectacles. That's really difficult. Uh, so yeah, again, for content creation, it's very similar to VR. So you use the same tools like Unity, Unreal, or Sumerian, and then it's just a little bit different tweakings for VR and AR content. But if you can make VR content, you can make AR content, or vice versa. So what is the takeaway for AR is AR remembers your surroundings. So if you remember, in case of Pokemon, if you look at a place, you may not see Pokemon, but at other place you can see Pokemon. So basically it remembers your surrounding, and then the technology behind it is called SLAM, simultaneous location and mapping, which actually maps your surrounding, creates a map of your surroundings. So if I place a YouTube over there, it will stay there. It's a bridge between reality and virtual objects. And for mobile AR, mobile camera is equal to mobile AR almost all the times, because even now in the new generation phones, the camera can overlay information. The camera can use AI to run filters. So most of the time, your mobile camera is just like, I mean, there is a lot of similarity between just using mobile camera and mobile AR. AR always works with mobile camera. And then AR glasses can potentially replace mobile handsets. That's what everybody is gearing towards. So in a nutshell, combining VR and AR, it's a start. It's been actually 5 years since it started, or a little more, but it's still a start in a sense. Both of these fields are growing very rapidly. Console AR and VR devices are expensive, but mobile AR and VR are in everyone's reach. Uh, Content creation is expensive and it's time consuming, because the 3D content creation is a really big deal, and that's one problem that we need to solve to so that more and more people can start creating content. And then AR and VR could follow almost same life cycle as mobile, what we have seen. So one day we can see VR MOOCs in VR, and the MOOCs in VR could be very different than these YouTube or Udemy like MOOCs. Basically, those will be interactive. So what does this mean for teachers? Because see, so right now we just got an understanding of what AR and VR is, where we are heading and what these devices are. But then what is the relevance for teachers? So first of all, you need to get a first-hand experience of these technologies, so you can guide students accordingly. And then your primary role is to make these devices available to students. That's the first part. So labs are now equipped with PCs, but that's not enough. The sooner we equip our lab with at least one AR and VR headset, the better, because you would be catching the trend at its start, not when it's when we are at its tail. uh, and you need to know how to use these devices. You need to explore apps there that are relevant to the subject that you are teaching. You can probably create your own content. There are new tools coming up, not as effective as Unity and Unreal, but then simple makeshift tools like Google Poly VR, with which you can just put a dinosaur in there and then you can show kids dinosaur. But if you want to have a little detailed experience, you need to have that Unity or Unreal like engines. Maybe it's a university, you can give a project to your computer students, and then there could be a symbiosis between two departments. Let's say a history department wants to make a VR app of some museum or something in the history, and then they can talk to computer science students and see if the final year students can work on a project which is going to be used by some other department. So some things like that, thinking out of box. So once a teacher knows how to use devices, once they have access to these devices, that's the first step, and then you can move to the next. So yeah, I mean, we covered a lot of things today, VR and AR, and now let's briefly talk about machine learning. Uh, so yeah, let's just dive in. Machine learning is a study of computer algorithms that improve automatically through experience. So the last four words are is the key. Basically, improves automatically through experience. Now, you may think that machine learning is for computer science students, so it's not my field. Why should I care? But uh, if you understand machine learning, you will understand how it's shaping your life. If you use YouTube, and if you are going through your playlist is actually managed by machine learning algorithm. So machine learning is actually shaping your life, because if you are spending 4 hours on your YouTube, those 4 hours you are learning something which a computer is showing you, a machine learning algorithm is showing you. So basically you are being programmed by a machine learning program. So understanding what machine learning is gives you a sort of sense as to what I'm seeing and why. Because if you are using mobile, I mean, the machine learning models are being trained on based on your data, basically. So let's see some examples. So the spam filter in Gmail. So Gmail automatically puts emails in spam, and that's why it got famous when it was actually launched back in 2004 or 5, basically. So what happens is there are a lot of spam mails. They sort of like categorized of these mails are spam, these are not spam. So there is a categorization, and then they had like a million examples, probably a million examples are marked with either spam or not spam. So whenever a new email comes in, uh, if it matches the signature of those spam emails, it is automatically identified as spam. And what happens is, if it is not identified as spam, and then if a user actually clicks on spam, then it goes into the machine learning algorithm and it improves. So that's where the improving automatically comes. uh, Google News. So this is like unsupervised learning. So what happens in Google News is the news items are aggregated according to a topic, but the algorithm doesn't know in advance about those topics. So if 100 news are coming in, the algorithm automatically understands that these four are of the same topic and these four are of the other topic, and it also gives a name to those topics. So that is another application or example of Google News. The Facebook started auto tagging a picture. So for 4 years back, 5 years back, you actually click when you upload a photo, and if you want to tag someone, you actually click on a person's head, right? Now Facebook actually suggests you, is this Manas, is this XYZ? So that is because they have hundreds of my photos tagged with the name Manas, and now if a new image comes up, and if the algorithm says, okay, this looks like Manas, they would automatically tag it. Alexa, Siri, or Google Home, you may have seen ads or seen some device somewhere. So you talk to a machine, Alexa, what time is it now? How's the weather today? Uh, and then Alexa gives you the answer. So that is another classic example of machine learning. Google Lens, yeah, we'll see a video of Google Lens, and then YouTube feed. So now how YouTube feed is being programmed, or how you, let's say you go through a feed and then you watch some video to the fullest. YouTube understands that you are interested in this video, so you would be interested in similar videos as well. So it in next time you open YouTube, it shows you similar videos. And then if you don't watch any video, or if you just watch a video for 10 seconds and then skip it, it understands that you are not interested in that video. So they give sort of like less weight to that video, and then that's how they program the feed. And then that feed which is programmed is now in turn programming us, because most of the people are spending hours and hours on YouTube going through their feed, and then uh, I'm only getting what I'm looking at. So basically, I should care about what I'm looking at. And if whatever I'm looking at is by machine generated, computer generated feed, then I have to see whether, I have to see that I'm not trapped into that feed itself, and I should think beyond the box as well. Yeah, so this is Google Lens
You can
demo
invoke
by
Google Lens
Sundar
from your
Pichai.
assistant, point your phone at it, and we can tell you what flower it is. Or if you've ever been at a friend's place and you've crawled under a
This is an
desk
AR plus
just to
AI.
get the username and password from a Wi-Fi router, you can point your phone at it.
So it understands password automatically and signs you in.
Or
So
if you're
that's all.
walking in a street downtown
This
and you
is
see a set
AI
of
plus
restaurants
AR
across you,
because it
you can point
understands the
your phone
geography,
because
the
we know
name,
where you
and
are
then
and we have our knowledge graph and we know what
gives
you're
you
looking
a
at.
Google Map
We can
address.
give you the right information in a meaningful way.
So the image is being overlaid on top of your camera, so that's an AR. But it's also understanding that it's meatball. This is this address, so they just pull it through the Google Map and then show the business the business listing of that business, and show it in a snippet. Um, this is very popular. Sophia, the first humanoid
Hi,
robot.
Sophia.
Now she understands what he's saying and replies intelligently.
Do you know where you are?
Of course. I'm in New York City, and I'm on my favorite show, The Tonight Show.
Yeah, so she understands that she is in New York City. It's not programmed, it's not hard coded. She understands her geolocation, knows that she's in New York, or she's at XYZ latitude and longitude, what's the weather like, and everything. So that's all because of machine learning. This is another example.
We're
It's
entering
little
an
scary,
era in which
but
our
it's
enemies
better.
can make it look like anyone is saying anything at any point in time.
Jordan Peele
Let's
created
see
this
again.
fake video.
So,
We're entering an era in which our enemies can make it look like anyone is saying anything at any point in time.
Jordan Peele created this fake video of President Obama to demonstrate how easy it is to put words in someone else's mouth.
Moving forward, we need to be more.
so Obama is not actually saying this. It's this guy saying it, and then Obama's lips are actually simulated in the similar fashion in Obama's voice, so he can actually create fake videos. And this is one of the dangerous or risky aspect of machine learning. And then there are ways to counter this as well, but but this is the power of machine learning. This is how powerful the machine learning is. Yeah, we can create computer generated faces, and then you can create computer generated videos as well. Then there are some other applications, style art transfer. So let's say there is an image of lion, and then this is a style that you want to adapt. So the output is the features of your main image and the style of the whatever painting that you want to adapt. Or here, so it's a girl's photo, and then there is a style, and then the photo is then revamped with the style of that, with the style. Or in the down there, the B image is a famous Picasso picture, and then this bridge is actually, if the artist had painted this bridge, it would look something like this. So it's an interesting case study or application for, let's say, art students. Um, the machine learning algorithm can create music as well. So the musicians, music teachers can use these to aid their music generation. Self-driving cars, that's another application. So this is how this is the eye of car. To the right side, whatever you are looking at, this is what the car is. This is how the car is processing. It's processing hundreds of objects, and in the left you can see nobody is driving. The guy is just there, self-driving. If all the cars on a road were self-driving cars, it would be a fairly simple problem to solve because all cars are interconnected with each other, and then the anomalies are the anomaly. There won't be much anomalies because all cars are like being run with the same algorithm. But running a self-driving car with a street filled with human driven cars is difficult because every human is in a way anomaly. A computer cannot predict how a person in front of me is he gonna stop, is he gonna raise or what. So it's difficult problem to solve and solve to much higher extent. In US they are already experimenting few cars on the road. Even in China and Germany, there are cars which are like self-driven, and then they are doing experiments. And the world is moving to self-driving cars. This is an interesting case study of this is called reinforcement learning. So basically, a computer learns to play a game, and it plays it to the best possible level. So computer knows nothing now. It just knows the keys that are going to be used for playing this game. For first 10 minutes, the goal is to hit all these blocks, and it's dying. It got dead. So he hit one tile, dead. Again one tile, dead, dead. One tile, two tiles. Okay. Now 2 hours of training. The computer is playing for 2 hours straight. Nobody is guiding computer now. Let's see computer's improvement. It is hitting a lot of tiles now. Okay. It has not lost yet. It is pretty successful. Okay. Now after 240 minutes, 4 hours, it found a secret. Now it's trying to maximize hitting the leftmost cell. It understood that it needs to create an opening like this, and my job will be easier. Now this is computer figuring it out on its own, and that is what this reinforcement learning is all about. And then there is a team, there is a company called DeepMind. They created this algorithm called Alpha Zero or Alpha Go. Actually, I'm confused. But basically, they beat the world champion in Go. So Go is a much more complex game than chess. And then there is a world champion called Leo Sidel, and then this machine, this company versus the world champion, and the algorithm won. The champion, the human champion of the world, he lost. And same with the chess. This Alpha Zero is unbeatable even with chess. Uh, so there are many branches in machine learning. One is like computer vision, which is being highly used in things like object detection or self-driving cars, um, or even like tracking, face tracking. Then there is NLP, which is natural language processing. So you process it's sorry, it's not programming, it's processing. So you process a natural language, like you just give an English essay and it tells you a lot of things about it. It can tell you, it can generate as the NLG, which is natural language generation, there are algorithms. You give one passage to the algorithm and it creates a story based on that passage. It can write, you give 10 lines, it will write 50 lines based on those 10 lines. NLP is more about understanding what you're saying and then replying. So there are chatbots. So let's say HDFC Bank has a chatbot. If I just talk to the bot, what is my balance? It understands that who is this person talking, and then what is he asking, and what should be given as an output to his query. So that's NLP. Then there is audio analysis, which is used in Google now, Google Home or Siri or Alexa, where it understands it converts your audio wavelength, audio wave to text, understands text, and then gives some reply in text, and then convert that text into audio. Again, that conversion from text to audio could be in different audio samples. It could be a male voice, it could be a female voice, or a young boy or old woman's voice. So a computer can do all those things. And then there are many different other branches. Let's not get into that, but one main branch which is sort of futuristic is artificial general intelligence. So basically the goal is to take AI to such a level with a human level intelligence in a way. So basically an AI which understands everything, playing game, doing self-driving cars, replying to people's queries, everything that you can think about. There should be a one machine that can tell you everything. That is like the goal of AGI. And some scientists say that we are like 80 to 100 years away from this. But let's see. Takeaway is it's machine learning is the fastest growing field right now in technology, and then it has a lot of far-reaching applications that are touching our day-to-day lives, and it is also helping us fight COVID as well. So the scientists are working on protein structures or antibody structures that can fight with COVID basically. So let's say you want to run 100. Let's say you shortlisted as a scientist, you shortlisted 100 different structures, molecule structures which can fight with COVID. The computer can bring down those 100 structures to, let's say, 10. A computer can predict a structure which can you give a virus structure, and the computer can predict as to what kind of structure can basically kill or be more overpower the other one. So lot of applications in biology, in genetics, etc. And then for teachers, I suggest you just look up how machine learning is impacting your field. If there is an science student, if there is an art teacher, you can use the art related machine learning algorithms, or you can see their applications. Almost every field, there are algorithms, there are applications, projects that people have done for almost every stream of science or every stream of education. And then there are also a lot of opportunities for data cleaning. So for data cleaning, you need domain experts. What I mean by data cleaning is, let's say there is English passage, and then the English passage, if you want to understand, let's say sentiment analysis, there is a sentence, and then you need to know whether this sentence is positive or negative, or is this sentence about shoes, or is this about clothes. So there could be sentences, and then you have to map those sentences with those keywords, and then we need this data. And then sometimes there is data but it's not clean, meaning that there could be it could be classified in a wrong classifier, so in the wrong topics. So a domain expert is very useful for cleaning this data or like generating this data. So there are actually, especially for English literature, there were few English teachers who mapped hundreds of thousands of sentences to their sentiments. Is this sentiment positive? Then they would say positive or negative or etc. But mainly it's just like keep an eye on how machine learning is impacting your field, and then that's it, I think. Yeah. So thank you. It was. I hope you got a clear overview of virtual reality, augmented reality, and machine learning. I understand they are not very directly related to academics, but the sooner you know about this, the better, because you understand these words, and then you will be hearing much more about these words, and it's better to at least get to know them beforehand, and then walk along with the ride rather than being late and then just completely missing out on the ride. Um, yeah, if you have any queries, you can drop me a mail. And if you are from, let's say, Maharashtra or Nashik region, sometime once all this COVID is over, we can probably schedule a demo where I can show you devices like this, because it's unlikely that you will see them out, and then you can experience these technologies by yourself. And then if you know, or if you are a computer science teacher or a computer science student and interested in learning machine learning, then you can just drop me a mail, and I'll notify you once the course is out, or I'll first talk to you as to what are your aspirations, what you want to learn, and then can probably create a customized course as well. So anyway, anything you want to talk about technology, drop me a mail. Thank you.